you're going to be our first sponsor of this thing, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. You're a big supporter of Greenback Sports. But where did your give back kind of start? You know, you were a graduate of what class, Pratt High? You were 2000,
2001.
2001.
Didn't actually graduate from Pratt, but was part of the 2001 class. My start in Pratt came from kids wrestling. I grew up in Stafford, Kansas. Started wrestling here with Don Tillman when I was in first grade, and did that all the way up through junior high. Had some family relatives in town, and so we would come to Pratt often, just as a resource, as a grocery store to play sports, but mainly to practice wrestling 3 times a week. And through wrestling, I would say that I gained a lot of friends from Pratt, and I just always viewed Pratt as the city.
Yeah.
And people look at this as a small town, and I've lived here long enough that, I'm starting to think of it as more of a small town in the way we operate and the way we treat each other. But I always looked at it the city of opportunity, and just always had my eye on Pratt and had a love for Pratt. And so through wrestling, that kind of created so much character in me that then I switched to basketball and football and track and, and all the other sports. And as an adult, I would just say that, sports is probably my passion.
There's so many things you get from sports. That's the thing. Like, sports can teach so many life lessons. You learn those as a kid, and then when you become an adult, like we are now, seeing your kids in them, you see all those other lessons that you were told about as a kid from that side of the view. In my opinion, you're like, man, it's such a great teacher to just be involved in sports, from the locker room to the field to the dugout to the bus rides to just another adult being around your kid as a coach. They're invaluable in my opinion. And to see the type of sports and offerings that, when you mention that small community like Pratt has compared to, I don't know that there's a better community, and I know I always talk up Pratt, and it probably looks like I'm paid to do it, but I mean, you're the same way. Mm-hmm. It is like, we are so blessed to have the community that we have with the coaches and the organizations and the recreation department and the businesses that support it all. And because one doesn't happen without, the other. And your Smiley Concrete is a big part of that. Like, you're on that side of it now, going from the kid that enjoyed it growing up to now one of those businesses that is a staple of the community, and it helps all those things thrive that, kids a generation later, it's full circle and you're on that end of it. Smiley Concrete, when was that officially founded, formed, and how has the growth been there as far as, your first couple years to where you're at now? It's got to be leaps and bounds. I know it is, but I want to hear it in your words.
Yeah. It's definitely. We started in 2007. I officially stared the company the day before I got married. So I quit my job.
A couple big life changes for you, Robert.
Quit my job. I've got a rock solid wife, and that's a big key. But quit my job and started my own company and got married the next day. And when I came back, I just had to figure it out. And, the first year, I think we made around $4,000 in the first year because you've got so many debts you've got to pay off. But from there, the competitive side kicked in, and it was just, what does it take? And I think that every time we've accomplished a job, we learn something new about ourselves. And that gives us the confidence to take on something that we haven't ever done before, that's just a little bit out of our comfort zone, a little bit more than what we've already achieved. And I have no doubt in my mind that growing up as a wrestler and growing up as a sports enthusiast and a person that just can't wait to get home and see what's on sports that day, I think that has just carried over to my business, to where I never really had a dream of what do I want my business to be. It's more just what can we accomplish, and so 19 years. We're getting ready to turn over to 20 years of business next year.
Congratulations!
Kind of hard to believe.
Yeah.
Got some kids coming up the pipeline. We'll either educate them what they want to do or what they don't want to do.
It's not an easy job.
It's not an easy job, but the but the but the thing I talked about in the beginning is what still fuels me today, and that is, how much can we do, how much can we accomplish. um, when you take something hard and you make it normal, then you can take on something even harder. And um, I think that there is it would be foolish of me to say that I've ever gotten to where I am today without help.
Yeah.
you know. And so for me, giving back to the sports is giving back to the community that's kind of been there, behind me the whole time. And so, um, it's just it's a natural instinct to achieve and give back to those that are doing great things and working their tail off and have work ethic and are doing all the things that led up to the recipe that you need to be successful in life.
Yeah. And to me, sports, and whether it's high school sports, travel sports, you've got kids in both. I do too. But sports is kind of that, I don't know, it's like that lifeblood of a community, where the more successful they are, the better facilities they have, the better support they have. It just seems like that's what keeps a community thriving, and so it does. It takes some help from businesses, from parents as volunteers, all the way from the rec, up. Then you get into high school, and we're blessed with great coaches here at the high school level. But, again, back to the, excuse me, the community side of it, you along a handful of other businesses, looking back in those last 19 years, are there a couple projects or commitments that stand out to you as far as ones that you're really proud of, ones that if you had to put a portfolio together of, hey, this is what I've done. These are some of our proudest projects, whether it be an actual physical project or maybe just a give back where you're more the man behind the scenes, something that you accomplished, put your name on, and made you feel good about Smiley Concrete and your business and what you gave to Pratt.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for asking. I would say over the years, some of the projects that stood out, as far as being able to grow as a business in the community. We did the Casey's, which was our first $1 million project, and we did the fire the fire department EMS that's new out east of town. In 2019, we rebuilt the Pratt Lake. That would probably be one of the ones that's gained me the most, as a business. One number one project in the state of Kansas off of that project.
I didn't even know you guys did that.
Yeah,
I knew the other two you mentioned.
it was a very difficult project. A few sleepless nights through a flood period, in our community, but that was kind of one of those stepping stone projects, and it got me in with engineering firms, which led to wind farm work and has led to bridge replacements and other types of big stuff that we do outside of the community. We were able to be a part of the Pratt uh, the Pratt School project, which was fun to be a part of. But ultimately, um, and we'll talk more on it someday. But ultimately, I would say that that's probably what led to my involvement in the Point Pavilion, is just seeing and understanding, um, where we were spending our time as a family with our kids and traveling and playing sports, and the costs that were associated with it, and the time it took away from getting the yard mowed and doing some of the things at home, but also the community and the family that built by hanging out with families that every day grew stronger and stronger in your life, and them families and those kids are looking after you, and you're looking after them, and so the Point Pavilion is I wouldn't say it's the pinnacle right now in my mind, but I also think it's just the beginning of Pratt and our construction capabilities.
Yeah, and You talk about that point pavilion and the beginning, that's where it's at right now. I mean, we're literally groundbreaking right now. So a lot of people might not be familiar with your reference to that point pavilion and why you talk about it in such reverence, but it is going to be a massive project. I mean, the biggest project that Pratt has ever undertaken, if I'm not wrong. A huge sports facility. It'll be out by, the Bill Keller uh, Stadium, Green Sports Complex, and just add to that and add to those offerings. And how fun is it for you to be able to get to mix passion and project on something like that with where you're at in your career now?
Oh, it's a ton of fun, and in sports, every moment, every run you go on, every swim, every workout, there's just kind of that little moment where you're like, should I just stop here? And should I
Yeah.
quit? Have I done enough? I've been doing a mile. We're good. We can stop at a mile. Or should I jog the end, or should I sprint the end? And so, um, with the Point Pavilion, for me, it started in 2019. I did a Rotary presentation saying, like, this is what we need to do. This is this is what will bring business to town. This is what will serve our needs, but in a way that it's not going to cost us money, cost us taxes, cost us this, cost us that. And so this is a thing that I think is going to become a real economy to our area. So I'm excited about that. And that had to be there, or else you can't dream up something this big. If it can't pay for itself,
Yeah.
or if it's just going to keep draining us, then that's not the right thing to do. So we had to really get that business part of it right. But then to focus on the sport, the project, and the size of things. Yeah, we're supposed to have finalized blueprints on September 1st. It'll take about 3 weeks to put that out to bid to subcontractors, and then we issue contracts and we start dirt work and we get going and we see what we can get done before the winter sets in. Sometimes it's a mild winter and you get a lot done, but aside from that, um, aside from the start of it, um, the let's see, where kind of lost my train of thought there. As far as the project size, it's the largest building that will be in Pratt County. It's 95,000 square foot. It's going to add to and complement our other facilities that we currently have. In no way, shape, or form will it hurt the Blythe. It's in partnership with the Blythe. Thanks to our generous partners behind the scenes. But
It's going to be impressive and
it,
it'll be exciting. And I think it's going to have so many different, options of what it can offer, what it will be. It'll be fun to see it in its initial offering, but also see it evolve just as, the seasons and the years and the demands go on. It's going to be able to do it all. And not only for sports, but the community as well. It's going to be a fun project. And like I said, I know once it gets farther along and as it starts to take shape, we're going to be doing a lot of promotion and media and talking about it, where we can have some other people on and go more in depth, as what it is. People are going to be asking questions. What's all that dirt getting moved out
mhm.
there on the east side of the soccer field? So there will be a lot of questions, and we'll have a lot of answers by then, or hopefully address it a little bit better. But yeah, the scope of what you're taking on and able to take on, it's impressive. And you think, is that the feather in the hat? Is that the pinnacle, like you
Mhm.
said, of your projects? But I got a feeling it's not.
Mhm.
As much as you seem to challenge yourself and push yourself, I kind of do it on a smaller scale, just with the creativity of some of this media stuff that I do. It's like, well, why come out with a magazine? And it's
Mhm.
like, well, why not? Let's try it. It sounds neat. It seems like that would be fun to do. There's not one out there right now. And so same thing. It's like, let's just push the envelope and see if we can make something else neat for Greenback sports, the community. So it's fun. It's fun that you partnered up with me. You've said to me in the past, like, hey, if you ever have any outside the box projects or opportunities for me to hop on and help support you, hit me up. Like, that's what you like to do. And so you were the first name I thought of when I thought, who can help me launch this, as far as from that sponsor level and things like that. And when I messaged you, you were pretty excited about it. So
Yeah.
I can't thank you enough for, helping me get this off the ground and see where edition 1 goes.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Cody, thanks for asking. The financial contribution is something everybody always has to think about, but the fact that Eastus Media, is this town. When I mentioned I grew up in Stafford, or other small communities, you're just so fortunate to have, those businesses that have the opportunity to thrive and have the opportunity to give back. And Pratt just seems to be one of those extremely competitive towns, but is also, full of professionals, just full of professionals, and you're one of them. And so Eastus Media is one of those things that I look forward to when I can't make it to something. I look forward to being able to watch and listen to it on Eastus Media, whether it be, you and Simon, or you and McAllister, or you and Poor, or you and whoever, you guys always, the best of both worlds is being at the event with a headset on, listening to Eastus
That's a
Media.
dedicated fan.
If you can,
and I know there's some of you out there.
I'd probably look a little weird, but I'm getting close to being that guy, because
That's funny.
I probably enjoy not being able to be at the game as long as it's a valid excuse. I would be at the game if it wasn't a valid excuse, but I almost enjoy having to be gone, because I know that I'm either watching my kids or my friends' kids, or the people that are growing up, and I've turned those into work opportunities for a lot of these kids. I just admire how hard they work, and I look back at me and I'm like, man, if I wouldn't have wasted so much time, where would I be now? I making gains in some people's eyes, but in life we all take steps backwards.
Yep.
And so that's where it's fun to step in and be a supporter, and kind of put your arm around a few people, and try to see if you can support healthy choices that are gonna that get you ahead of the competition, both on the field and in life.
Yeah, it's it's fun getting the feedback like that. We'll hear that every now and then. Somebody like, man, it's almost more fun to not go to the games, which is not what we want.
I know. I
Road games, I understand. Home games, get yourself down there. But the headset in the stands, that's the way to go. I think you're onto something there. And I know there's people that do it, because we'll get text messages while we're broadcasting, and I'm like, I know you're here in the stands. I've seen you, but they'll comment on something we've said. So I'm like, you're listening and watching. So. I like that dedication. That lets us know that we're doing something good.
Yeah.
And I always try to say professional fun. We always try to have fun professionally. While we're on the radio there. So, but this is going to be fun. Like I said, we've got this magazine, kind of a proof concept here. I'll let you look over this here in a bit, but you're going to be the main sponsor of this one, and that's kind of the idea. As far as I'm going to learn a lot from this first episode, I think. So I'll know more after we publish this one, see what kind of feedback we get from the community, or test the market. I got to test the market with this one to find out the route we go with it. But the idea, kind of the concept behind it was, every year you see Kansas pregame come out with their fall edition, their winter edition, their spring edition, and they do an unbelievable job. I can't imagine the amount of work that goes into that, but they're doing it for the whole state and every school, and everybody's got a little capsule in there and a write-up. And I look forward to getting to it, but a lot of times I flip through it just to the Pratt page, and there might be just a little write-up on Pratt. Maybe we'll have a standout athlete like we had Morrell last year, who got a feature page or something, but I got to looking through that, and I was like, why not just make a whole magazine that's nothing but Pratt? Like, that's what Pratt people want. So that's where my wheels start turning. Then it's like, well, I guess I'm the guy to do that.
Yeah.
So the idea with this is, yes, fall edition, winter edition, spring edition, and then year roundup championship edition. 4 episodes or 4 editions every year is the goal with this magazine. The coaches have been great working with me, getting questions and answers and forms, questionnaires. I couldn't do it without the cooperation that I get with the Pratt athletic department and Coach Batten, or athletic director Batten now, Mr. Swank, and all the head coaches, they work really well with me, and so I appreciate all the work that they do. Getting when I send them something, I'm like, hey, I'm working on this. Can you help me out? They're pretty responsive, and
Good.
and same with you. It's like everybody that I'm including or trying to work into this magazine has been real responsive, and so the as far as the getting the info and things like that, that's made it a little bit easier. And I couldn't do any of it without Bill Ray.
Mm.
It's going to feature all the pictures you're going to see in this magazine are going to be pictures from Bill Ray, the sidelines, the court, the dugout. I mean, you see him; he's everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't even have to be a high school event. He will be at the Cobras, state tournament, or the Piranhas, or the Little League. He goes everywhere.
That's right.
So it's going to be fun to feature his pictures in print for the first time that I know of. He does such a good job of publishing them all digitally. Once an event is done, but this will be fun to put them in the hands of people, and that's kind of the mindset behind it. Is digital stuff, you consume it. This, I want you to keep it. Be fun to go through a scrapbook in years and still have something like this laying around. So
I can't wait to get my hands on a copy. And old Big Bill Ray, people don't understand he's got a full-time job.
Yeah.
At the hospital. You'd think his full-time job is taking pictures,
Yeah.
and that's his passion. Just like you
Yep.
and just like me. You couldn't take the time away from your business if you just weren't so insanely passionate
Yep.
about it, and all the relationships and everything that come with it. And one thing that I would say, as far as us getting started on Eastus Illustrated, is just like I tell anybody, that the percentage of something working out if you don't try is 0%.
Yep. Yep.
And so everything that I've seen you do, works out, and I know that comes from putting thought into it beforehand, and then putting work into it, and then the icing on the cake is what comes after the work's been put into it. And so I have no doubt in my mind what quality recognition that this will bring to the community and the athletes that are putting the work in. It's going to be fun to read. It's going to be fun to have in hand.
Yeah, I think it'll just be something fun, neat, that again nobody else does. I like doing the stuff that when other schools or other parents or fans from other communities are like, man, we don't have that. I'm like, nope, you don't.
You better make sure the print shop has enough ink to create enough copies.
Yeah, we will see. We will see. But again, Robert, I couldn't do it without you. Anything else you want to add, or that to touch on that I haven't asked you, or that you feel like is an important message as far as, again, your support to the community, Greenback Nation, being a business owner here in Pratt? Any final thoughts, or anything we left out that's worth noting?
No, that's kind of a loaded question there, but
Yeah.
I would just say that there's no quit. There's no high bar. Records just keep getting broken. Both nationally, globally, but even locally. Locally, just records are getting shattered in the junior high by 40 yards or in a throw, or by a full second in a run, and things are just getting so much bigger and better, and I'm just happy to be a part of that. I'm glad that is Pratt. I'm happy that geographically so many highways funnel to us and through us, and and of course we can hop on them highways and we can go other places too, but the investment into this community is what I'm most proud of and most invested in. I have a lot of other investments in this community besides just doing the construction work, and that only comes from me believing in this community and the products that are coming out of it. And 4 of those products are my children.
Yep.
And so I will give anything and everything that I can, and keep doing everything that I can to be just one part of this great community, and I stand firmly behind Greenback Nation.
Oh, that's a great sentiment. Before we end it, your thought there made me think of a discussion I just had this week with a good buddy talking about making Pratt as big as you could, or there's bigger things out there, but you want to make Pratt as big as you can with your contributions. And I had a buddy ask me, he was like, man, I was showing him the magazine, and he's just like, you do a lot of cool stuff. Like, do you ever think about getting bigger, like, going bigger, Wichita, or like there's nobody else that's doing what you're doing, like would, if someone else made you an offer, and I had the exact same sentiment that you did. And I said, no, like I'm going to just make me bigger than anybody that would make me an offer.
Yeah.
I was like, I would never go work under somebody, if I saw sports in Kansas, and this is no shot at sports in Kansas at all, because they're awesome. Like they're the standard, my goal is to be bigger than sports in Kansas, not to get to where they notice me and work, like I want to make that for Pratt. I want to make everything in Pratt as big as the stuff you see statewide. So kind of that same thought is, Pratt's a pretty cool place. And rather than start looking outside it to get bigger, why don't we just make it bigger within?
Yeah.
So yeah, same mindset there. So Robert, it's a Saturday morning. It's a lake day. I'm not going to keep you any longer.
All right, sounds good. I appreciate
All right.
it. Thank you.
Thanks, Robert.